Thank you very much. I'm really grateful to be here. I think it's this is a great thing that the Biscayne Fire Department is doing, and as a community, just that the fact that this is being supported, I think this is a really important cause that we're going after here. And he talked about addiction, and to me, it's not just addiction, it's mental illness, it's suicide awareness, and it goes deeper than that. It's about teaching our youth and teaching even the adults that we need to be more vulnerable and we need to be more authentic, and to split apart that need to be perfect, which puts too much pressure on us and gives us too much anxiety, too much depression, and that's what's leading to all these other issues. So I think I'd like to start off, and for those of you who have the book now, I give it to you guys. I'm going to ruin the very beginning of the book for you, because there's something that I talk about in the book that it's an analogy for addiction. And it talks about the finest cheese you could ever imagine. So it's imagine the best possible Pecorino Romano, Parmesan, something from the rolling hills of Italy, just some delicious, salty, crunchy cheese that comes right out of Italy, that just is stinky and you can't wait to bite into. And when you do bite into it, it's got that nice little crunch, and it's delicious. And what does cheese attract? Cheese attracts mice. So this cheese that we're talking about is set on top of a mouse trap. Now, and it attracts a little mousie. And the mouse finds his way over to this mouse trap with this beautiful cheese on top of it and recognizes the mouse trap. He recognizes that this same mouse trap has killed a bunch of his mousy friends. It's taken them all to mousy heaven, and they are gone, no longer with us, because they tried to go for that cheese and the mouse trap crushed them. But the aroma of this cheese is just a little bit too irresistible. So he decides to go in and just wants to take a little bit of a nibble. And he's very careful and carefully puts his snout up against the cheese and just takes a little bit of a nibble. And he gets a bite of that cheese, and the mousetrap doesn't go off. And it is like ecstasy. It is the greatest feeling he could have ever imagined. I mean, the smokiness, the saltiness, everything about this cheese just lights up all the chemicals in his brain. He is in ecstasy right now. And he realizes, wow, I just got lucky. I didn't get crushed by this thing. I probably should walk away. And as he starts to turn to walk away, he goes, well, you know what? I'm probably not going to come across a cheese this good again. Maybe I should take another nibble at this cheese. And so he goes, all right, one more nibble. What could one more nibble hurt? It couldn't. So let me just go in for one more little bite. Goes and puts his snout up against it and goes for a bite. And the mousetrap closes right onto him. And he dies. And to me, that is addiction. That is what addiction does. Addiction, you go for a momentary relief, a momentary feeling of ecstasy, and you put your life on the line for that. You put your family out of the window, out of the picture. Your family doesn't matter anymore. You put your friends out of the picture, your relationships. You put your health out of the picture. And you can die from this disease, but the brain doesn't think of it that way. And that really is what addiction is about, is that unavoidable urge, that inability to stop yourself from going for another bite of that cheese. Whether it's heroin, whether it's opiates, whether it's pain pills, whether it's cocaine, marijuana, vaping, cell phones, Facebook, Instagram, anything that spikes that dopamine, it's that irresistible urge to pick up whatever it is and use it again. When you're faced with an anxiety, when you're faced with a fear, when you're faced with a situation where you can be open and vulnerable and be authentic, lean into it, embrace it, and do something. Do something about it. Don't keep those feelings in. Don't pretend they're not there. Don't put a mask on and pretend you're okay. Be open, be vulnerable, and actually work through those problems in whatever way that works best for you. And use other people to lean on. You don't have to keep those things inside. You don't have to pretend like everything's okay, because we're all in the same boat together. We're all on this rock, we're all spinning together. So I promise you that we're all having the same feelings. So it's okay to be yourself, it's okay to show weakness. And like I said, it's okay to be vulnerable. So thank you guys.